Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network. WGNS, Murfreesboro. W270AF, Murfreesboro. W263AI, Murfreesboro, Smyrna.
Touched by Angels, locally owned and operated in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Call Tamanika Turner, 615-877-5969, or via email touchedbyangel2018@gmail.com. They offer a wide range of handmade custom crafts from blankets to t-shirts, jewelry, tumblers, and wreaths. Also, decor for events from baby showers to weddings. If you need decor, call Touched by Angels. These shirts for Simplicity Radio. Or jackets if you want to order for $25, t-shirts for $12 or $12.50. Call her. I want to see everybody walking around with these shirts for Simplicity Radio. You haven't been touched until you've been touched by this angel, Tamanika Turner, 615-877-5969 to order your shirt for Simplicity Radio broadcast.
This is Michelle Gibson with United Realty Group in South Florida, where I listen to and support Simplicity Radio with Angela Bingham. If you are looking to buy or sell real estate in the South Florida area, don't forget to contact me at 561-336-6119 or Michelle with 2 L's at the number 4 salepbc.com. You are listening to Simplicity Radio with Angela Bingham on WGNS 1450 on your dial. Stay tuned for more stimulating conversation.
Renters, when you combine State Farm auto and renter's insurance, you save an average of $642. I'm State Farm agent Emerson Williams, and I'm ready to help you combine auto and renter's insurance and save. Call me at 615-459-2683.
Hello everybody, this is Coach Scott Oatsfall with LT360, and we are proud sponsors of Simplicity Radio with Angela Bingham. LT360 is an all-natural healthcare company specializing in getting people healthy at the cellular level while nurturing the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. We're an all-natural healthcare, so if you struggle with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, or you're looking to get off your medication and change your life, then you can give us a call at 615-815-0390 or lt360.com. And again, you're listening to Simplicity Radio with my sister, woman of power and faith, Angela Bingham.
You're listening to Simplicity Sunday with your host, Angela Bingham, broadcasting live on your good neighbor station, News Radio WGNS, every Sunday from 6 until 7 p.m. Thanks for tuning into the show, and remember, 1 hour of simplicity can change your life in Jesus Christ.
Murfreesboro.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Simplicity Talk Show in the Borough. I'm your co-host, Deshaun Rogers, joined by the lovely Miss Angela Bingham here today. And thank you to Jackson, our producer, for allowing us to be here. You're tuning in to 101.9 FM, 100.5 FM, 1450 AM. And Facebook friends, please share us, like us, and support us, because as our goal here is to live with a purpose, on purpose, and we believe that there is a passion in everybody, and that is to live with peace, power, and prosperity. And in doing so, you will help us share and spread our goal. And today, as some of you already know, you've met Gary and you've met Jaden, but for those of you who haven't, allow them to be reintroduced and introduced to those others. So Gary, we'll start off with you.
Hello, my name is Gary Willis. I am a young entrepreneur. I make custom clothing, t-shirts, hats, and I'm also just now getting into some other things as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Jaden?
Hi, my name is Jaden West. I'm 16. I'm an upcoming entrepreneur, and I'm starting a photography business that I'm working on right now.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So today we got these young black men here today supporting Black History Month. And as you know, today, as our goal has always been, we want to support the community. We want to bring everybody together. And we believe that these young men along here with us, with Angela, and helping us doing so, as long as y'all tuning in. And today we're really, really going to cut deep into the Black history. We're going to be talking about tradition, legacy, and we're going to be talking about culture. And those are three very, very important things that you need to have in order to be successful, especially in this black community, because as a black community, we really hold each other tight together. When we have nobody else, we definitely have those close to us at home. And today, Bishop Walker was talking about let it go. That was something good he was talking about today. Just talking about letting go of all the hatred, all these negative feelings toward anybody that you have close to you, because at the end of the day, you're going to need them when it comes down to it, because when you have nobody else, you're going to have those people, because at the end of the day, they're not going to let you go, so you shouldn't let them go. Always keep them close. And that is a tradition starting way back before anything even happened. That was just way back when even in slavery, we were just always together. And we need to hold those values sacred to each other, as far as singing, keeping each other close to each other, and just being able to commune with each other. And do y'all have any traditions that y'all know of?
Traditions that we know of?
Yeah.
One tradition that we do at my house is like when it's Christmas or like Thanksgiving or anything like that. One thing that I like to do, well, I personally do as a tradition, is to like thank the people every time. Like, even though on Christmas usually you'll open up presents and stuff and everybody, there would be like no thank yous or anything, but having that affirmation from like your kids, I think in my head, like makes it all worth it when they understand like the gratitude and all the work that went into getting those gifts and all that, and just setting up the food and all that, and having family around you, being thankful for that as well.
Yeah,
not just a material thing.
Yeah, being able to understand what puts you in that position to begin with, being able to understand what keeps you going, driving day by day. Jayden, you got any traditions?
I know, like, it's a common tradition. I know probably everybody do it, but, you know what I'm saying, like, every year on Juneteenth, we get together, have a cookout, go to, like, some big park, like, where nobody's at, have a cookout, play volleyball, dodgeball, anything. Like, we just get together, have a big family day, and we make like so much food, desserts, all that, and just enjoy.
Yeah, separate from my family reunion, actually, we always just like to figure out a day or a week in the month, or just like a weekend in the month that no one in the family is doing anything anywhere, and we'll always try to plan something, that way we can come together. I remember a couple years back, I went to my first amusement park with all the roller coasters and whatnot, and I hadn't seen my cousin in it had been like 5 years at that time. And so to be able to see them and be able to catch up with them and experience life with them, that was such a great moment that I would be able to cherish for the rest of my life. And I feel like that's something that we need to keep going throughout the generations, to be able to connect with the family members and the friends far away from us. That way we know who they are, we know they're there, and we're able to connect with them and always have someone close to us and be able to have someone that'll support us.
How'd you do on the roller coasters, though?
I'm not gonna lie. Cause like them pictures did not come out good.
Nah, when I got on my first roller coaster, bro, like the thing is, the roller coaster was over a log ride. So there were 2 lines, but they were different. My cousins tricked me and made me think we was getting on the log ride because I was scared of roller coasters. So when I got on, we going all the way to that time. I'm about to start screaming, but not have fun though. It was
Nah, I remember there was
one tradition in our family. We would say it takes a village, and that's an African proverb because it really does take a village to raise people in your family, and everybody wanted your success. And when we get together, we celebrate freedom. We celebrate a right to love. We celebrate the right to forgive because we're not perfect beings.
Yep.
But we do serve a perfect God. That's what I love.
Amen,
about it.
amen.
And so I do believe that even as young people, setting a tradition in your family to teach your friends about African Americans that has made history, African American inventors. There's a lot of things that everybody has played a part in America. And I know that now we're doing all the controversy, not we, but the controversy around whether African American history should be taught. And I want you as young people, young entrepreneurs coming up, that you all be the difference. Be the difference. And then not only that, but now you're entrepreneurs and you are yourself is, you all are doing things for the community. You're making history right now. Even coming on the radio show and sharing that you do T-shirts, and here you are, entrepreneur doing photography. We want to support that. That's what community is all about. That's what the village is all about. That we support one another. And then, like you open up the show tonight, Deshaun, I do believe that giving people opportunity to see, to do, to feel, to be able to say, hey, I might can do that. We help people dream, and don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that.
And I feel like one thing people tend to forget when it comes to chasing a dream is it's okay to fail.
Right.
Sometimes
Exactly.
Sometimes when you fail, that is in those moments of failure, that's when you find the best newer ideas or the most innovative ideas. But a lot of times now we're in this society where everything has to be perfect. Right. When everything isn't perfect. You could be good at something, you could have been doing it your whole life, and it still won't come out the way that you thought it would be in your head. We are imperfect people trying to do perfect things. Yeah. And it doesn't, and it's counterproductive. If you are progressively trying to get better at something, that is okay. But if you're trying to, I want to say, perfect it to where it's like nothing else could really top it, is going to be impossible because nothing on this earth is perfect.
Everything grows.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Gary, kind of like reword your quote a little?
Yeah.
Quote a little bit?
Yeah.
What's it called? Like you said, sometimes we're going to fail. But the thing is, people don't know is like sometimes you're going to fail, but you're always going to fail one point in your life, no matter like who you are. Like how you think people like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, all those celebrities, how you think they got there? They failed, but they just didn't stop. And the thing is, like a lot of people nowadays, I know I have this problem too, depending on like what it is. It's like you fail at it a certain amount of times to the point where you just like, you know what, I'm done, I'm just gonna go find something else. But you're just not staying consistent with it. Like
even the potato chip, the African American made the potato chip, and how he did it was a Frenchman came in and he wanted potatoes, and he said, well, these are not crunchy enough.
I remember learning about that.
Then he said, okay, if you want some crunchy, I'll make them crunchy. But he was doing it somewhat as a joke, and the man loved them. And it was all about, just getting in the kitchen and just making something up, because, the first one failed. He could have said, well, I'm not going to cook him anything. The chefs they can be, somewhat beside themselves when somebody doesn't care for what they have prepared for them. But he used that opportunity. And now all over the world, look, we're buying potato chips still to this day.
Man, thank God, because I love me some.
Right.
That's one of my problems.
Like, man, every time I see a bag of Lay's, barbecue chips, potato chips, anything, it's getting my money. I don't care. Like
every time.
That was an African American that did that, and I just believe. And it's sad that we have to go African American, but otherwise we don't know our history because it's not taught. Now I know you all are much younger, Is it taught in the schools today? Because when I was going to school, it was taught on the back end, and it was taught that, that African Americans were classified as dogs. I mean, this was actually in the history book. So I'm in school. Would that make you feel proud that your ancestors were considered as dogs in the history book? And it said that they were illiterate, dumb. It was just every negative thing you could think of. Well, I'm in the class and I'm raising my hand and saying, no, that wasn't the reason African Americans were not illiterate. They had language. They could read. But if you put me in China right now and expect me to read Chinese, then I can read it because that's not my native
your native
language.
tongue. Yeah.
And so I said, so let's be real. Let's tell the truth.
The whole thing.
Yeah, the whole
thing.
thing. And then if they were caught reading, they gouged their eyes out. They cut their hands off. They did. So it wasn't that they were illiterate because they were lazy. And all that was printed in the history book. And I'm so thankful for my mom. With our family, they bought Black history books for us to read. So I would have come out, thinking, I don't have anything to be proud of, but when I learned different, it made me sit up a little taller, be a little bit more thankful for my heritage. We come from royalty. And when I say royalty, rich heritage, and I'm talking about critical thinkers, great minds. And people try to demean that and put like a demise there. But no, I am so proud. And it's not because of a movement. This is a mission. I can't help the skin I'm born in. But I tell you what, whoever is around me, they're going to know that I'm a proud person.
Indeed.
I know that. I know that you. I know that you just asked. You're like, are they teaching Black history the way it should be taught in the school systems? And honestly, in the textbooks nowadays, it's not in there. I mean, like, they'll say some stuff about, like, slavery happened, this happened, the Tuskegee Airmen helped with World War II, whatever. But it's not really going to be taught unless the teacher tells. Now, the school system, they make sure that Black History Month is known. Like, our school, they had people say, like, quotes, Black History quotes from, like, different people for the entire month. I know I got to say one, like, last week. But it's not really taught unless the teacher shines to it. Now, my history teacher, I got two of them, but my teacher, Mr. Picklesheimer, he teaches U.S. history. So every time, like, because the thing is, he doesn't censor anything. He'll make the full story out of every situation. And the thing I like about him is he'll go to Black history. Like, he's a white man, but he makes sure that we know it. That's good. Things like when we were learning about, right now, we're ending off on World War II, but he made sure we knew about the Tuskegee Airmen. Back then, he made sure we knew about Harriet Tubman or Madam C.J. Walker or just people like that. And it's not in his lessons, and he's not required to teach it, but he teaches it anyway. And that's the thing I really like about him, and that because we don't get to learn stuff like this. And I know, have y'all had this teacher freshman year? What's her name? Miss Hall?
No, I never had Miss Hall.
Y'all didn't have her? Dang, well, she's an English teacher, but for the entire month of Black History Month, freshman year, we did nothing but Black history lessons. Like,
poetry and all of that.
Yeah, like poetry. We made, she had us make a PowerPoint, choose a song that focuses on a social, racial issue. And a lot of people chose, like, The Bigger Picture by Lil Baby, but I chose Wishing for a Hero by Polo G, which was like a Tupac remix. And I went into everything, like the poverty in Chicago and all that. And like the gang war going on. It's like, we scream Black Lives Matter and all that, but a lot of people just scream it. They're not doing anything about it. And that kind of sucks, because if you think about it, 2020, when George Floyd died, I don't mean to say this in a disrespectful tone, but when people were saying Black Lives Matter, it was just a trend. They didn't care. They was
a lot
just
of people
doing
were just doing
rioting.
it for a trendy.
Exactly. They was just doing they just said it so they can get in on the riots and steal stuff and the protests and just do it for fun. Because when people were protesting, they was out there riding skateboards and all that. But then 2021 comes, nobody's saying it no more.
Wow.
And I know the situation, I forgot his name, I feel so bad, but when that man was beat by the police a few months ago, people said people said Black Lives Matter for like about a week. You didn't hear about it after that. Like, you still don't hear it. It's just a trend. People only acknowledge it when it comes up on the news. If not, they're not gonna care.
And too, and I often say this, we want to fight for abortion. No, do not abort your babies. And if you really believe in life, I would say they don't want you to kill them in the womb, but then they send them to the tomb by shooting them down, the police. Life is life, outside the womb or inside the womb. And I will say that all lives matter, but sometimes you just have to come out and say, what about black lives? Because you don't just gun people down
for no reason.
And then a lot of people say, well, why don't they just comply? Or why don't they just not run? Or the only reason
we're
they say
complying.
that, because when President Biden did say, he said, you don't know the feeling of being able to say, I see my son, my black son, in the morning, but I might not see him at the dinner table. Because, if you get in an altercation or if a tail light is out, the average black person begins to sweat because, and then they said, put your hands on the wheel, don't reach for anything, and you could get shot just reaching for your driver's license. And he said, nobody knows how that feels except people who have black children. And I thought that was a beautiful thing to say, put yourself in my shoes for a minute. And this is at leisure, where all people should be able to be protected or feel like that you're being protected. Because if you're stopping me for a tail light, you want me to say, okay, I'll go get that fixed. But no, you might get out and get shot. So there's no guarantee. But I want people to understand this. When you say all lives matter, life means life. No early deaths because of something you thought somebody had a gun, or you're trained in
handling situations like that.
Supposedly.
Or he looks like
and then
he's up to no good.
No, it's too much. It's going on too long, and we must stop. It must stop with young people saying we're standing up for our rights. And how do we do that? We make it a movement instead of just a mentioning of something or just a trendy word or the buzzword for right now. It really matters.
Yeah, like I know me, like I drive like every day because I have to, and I always have my music up loud. I know Deshaun knows. I brought him here. Like we had our music up loud. We were just jamming.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed, but when I was in your neighborhood, I don't know if you saw me slow down when I saw that police car. Even though I wasn't even going fast, but I turned my music down extra low, and I'm going neighborhood speed. I'm going 15 miles an hour, but I slowed it down to 10. Like every time I see a police officer like just out on the road, I always turn my music down. I make sure to go slower because I really just don't want no problems. My music could be like not even halfway loud. I'll sometimes just turn it all the way down and I'll just look straight and I'll try to look around because I just really want to get past that officer so I'll feel safer. Now I'm not saying all police are bad or whatever.
Absolutely not.
But
I don't know.
Instincts.
I just don't know.
It's instincts at that point because you don't know what could happen and you don't want that risk of hey, I got my mom at home, I got my family members at home, I can't I got friends, I can't risk nothing, so you got to play it extra safe. And honestly, when that comes to when that's a day-to-day thing, it gets tiring and it gets annoying, and it's just like, when is it gonna end?
Yeah, this is trauma. It's trauma, and to even just get in a car. And I had a friend that came on the radio show with me, and he adopted black sons.
Really?
And he said he never thought about it until all of these things started happening. And he wanted people to understand that a life is a life. And everybody is about safety. You want that person, if you do stop them, stop them, tell them what's correct. But altercations do not have to happen. And lives do not have to be just wasted with gunshots on a simple traffic violation. And I'm seeing too much of this. And then I was driving with one of my friends, and I woke up and it was at night. And the policeman pulled us over. At the time, I had a Mercedes, a black Mercedes, and he wasn't driving fast or anything. So I woke up and I said, "Sir, what are you stopping us for?" And my friend said, "Angela, be quiet." I mean, I saw him go into a whole different mode of hands on the wheel. He was straight, and he just looked straight ahead. And I was like, wow. But see, I never knew the plight of the black man when the policeman stops. When I saw that, it was something just so unreal to me. So I asked the policeman, I said, "And you stopped us for what?" And he just said, just checking to see, making sure you knew where you were going. But what if I had not been in the car?
I would have been different.
Yeah.
Like, I had that talk with my dad like at least 3 times. He said, look straight, keep your hands on the wheel. Only move when you're told to move. Don't get out unless you're told to. Don't run. That's a big one.
Right.
Don't run.
Right.
And just overall, just look at the officer the entire time. But while keeping your hands, not even on the wheel, like just on the dashboard. Like just keep them there. Look at the officer the entire time while you're talking to him. Don't take your eyes off of him. Like he's told me that. My dad and my mom told me that like I lost count a long time ago.
Right.
What's really important, Mr. Parkhurst, another great teacher I'm in criminal justice, he actually teaches about this because he was a police officer at one point. He knows about some of the corrupt things that can go on, so he does take time to teach us about, hey, like, for some of the students in the classroom, like, hey, like, not everyone is going to approve of, your skin tone, so you have to be wary and be cautious, because even though you have people on your side, there are other people who are going to not like who you are. So he goes through and he teaches the African American, like, the kids in his class, and he's like, hey, these are some of the things, like, that police officers look for. Like, you just overall just have this amount of respect and do these things, and you'll be all right. And that's just what we try to go by, and that's what we really respect that man for.
I might take his class.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'll take criminal justice. I'm telling you, take criminal justice.
There are definitely
Take his class.
one thing I will say is there's definitely people who are willing to help, like, spread awareness, but overall the school system itself is like almost trying to, I want to say, put it under the rug.
Yes.
And a lot of people nowadays, and a lot of young people are like tired of just pushing things under the rug, because that's what's been going on with our history for since we came off them boats. That is all we've been doing. It's just pushing it under the rug and forgiving, or not even forgiving, but just holding it all in. And now that young people are starting to lash out for all the things that are happening, now people are starting to pick up on, this happened on such and such day, so this is why they're acting a certain type of way. Like, now that people are actually starting to, I guess now talk about it more and actually are starting to take the initiative, it's a good thing. But what we're also doing is, while we're trying to take the initiative, a lot of times what happens is, and what makes it a trend, is us staying in that victim mentality at the same time. Us having to let go but moving forward is, I feel like, our biggest problem. We are not moving forward in the fact that, yes, those things happened to our ancestors, but where can we go from there? And that is one of the biggest problems that we have.
I
feel you on that, man, because
Yes.
like the school system, they shut down like you cannot talk about certain stuff.
Mm-mm.
Like
They try to get rid of freedom of speech. They try.
I had a substitute. I forgot what class it was for, and this was like earlier this school year. Not earlier this school year, but this is back when I forgot his name. The man got beat by the police officers, and especially because the police officers that beat him were black, so that made no sense on why they decided to do that. But me and a few of my friends were actually talking about it, and like nothing bad. We're just like, that's crazy, that's messed up, man. Like, is why I don't trust police officers. That teacher got mad. He's like, there will be no speak of violence in this school. What is wrong with y'all? Y'all have lost your minds. I don't want to have to report y'all. I was like, we're not even doing anything wrong. I'm like, have you not seen it? They were like, I've seen it and it's bad, but that doesn't mean you should be talking about it in school grounds. That's not school appropriate.
They don't want us to talk about any political values or anything like that. And I feel like it's weird that they're trying to do that now of all times, especially with everything. I understand where they're coming from, but I feel like now is not the time for you to try to silence kids' opinion.
Especially like social media and all that, it's going to get out.
It's going to get out. So it's like there's no point in you trying to reframe something that's already so interconnected.
Absolutely, and your voice is right now the most valuable thing you have, and to be enlightened. And school education system was never meant for African Americans. And until we rewrite that narrative and start something new and fresh, that equity is in education, you get what is needed. Everybody will learn about your heritage. Everybody will learn about their ancestors. Everybody will learn where they come from and when they came to America. Some people were still native here, and you had Indians, you had black, each culture. Some people were native to America. Not everybody came over on boats, but they came over willingly, and we came over forcefully.
Yep, and that's
so
the difference.
It is a big difference because they were fine where they were,
Right.
But it like you said, sometimes things we move in grows for something else to transpire. So we're here now, and we all share America. And what I want people to understand is that when you have different biases and you put those on somebody else, are you really living free? Are you really living free? It doesn't matter your skin that you're in. Are you really living free? Because freedom starts in the mind and the heart. So that bondage that we have of hatred, you can't go anywhere.
Nope, you gotta let it go.
Gotta let it go.
You gotta let it
and then
go.
like my friend, she preached today, I will trust in the Lord. And it was more so of not just saying I love Jesus, but no, it's more what would Jesus
do in that situation?
Absolutely. We wear bracelets. What would Jesus do and all that? But no, what do you truly trust in? Who do you truly love? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Simplicity, and we have gotten in this conversation.
Yes.
And we know that all things work together for the good of
everybody.
Of us. All of us. And I think that is the word for the people tonight. If you want to call in, that number is 615-893-1450. Once again, that is 615-893-1450. And we're talking to some young entrepreneurs, handsome, good looking. I'm the only female in the room, but that is okay because all this good energy. I love listening to young people, especially young people who know that where they are going. They have a plan, and they're working in the plan and living the plan.
Yes, ma'am.
I love it. I love it. I love it. This month has been our youth month for February, and we will have some more of these. And we're going to get together and plan some things and do some things under the umbrella of simplicity. Simplify your life. Simplify your life so you know your plan, and then you know you live in your purpose, and you can do it with passion, you can do it with peace, you can live in prosperity, and you can just enjoy this life while you're young. I love it. I love what I see. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for just tuning in. And I know a lot of you have tuned in at WGNS Radio. We're doing something different with this QR code where you can look it up on the YouTube channel and share it on Facebook. Do all of this because we want to be the #1 radio show in the land, okay, in the galaxy, in the whole wide world, in all the planets, okay? So we want everyone to understand that you're not perfect. You can't be perfect, but you can be real. Getting back to our conversation. Take it on, Deshaun.
All right. Thank you. And so now what we've been talking about really, but we were just about to flow into it, is about that legacy, about learning about the culture that you have, learning about what you are and learning about who you are. That way you know what you need to hold close to you and what allowed you to be there in the first place, because that's why we need the Black History lessons inside of the schools and just in general, just for general knowledge, because without that we don't know where we came from, we don't know what we need or what we could possibly need for the future and how to progress forward. And so I feel that's why I really have a lot of respect for my grandma and my mother and my past grandfather, Talbert Sawyer Randolph. Oh, I'm sorry.
I love him.
Yeah, I miss him.
You know, I didn't get to go to his homegoing because I said, where do they need me most? So I went over to the church to do the food. You know, but service and hospitality is one of my gifts. And I just began to reminisce the times that he was driving us to the state conventions, and then over a period of time and the years went by, I was driving him, you know, to the state convention meetings. And, you know, when I say it takes a village, my mom could not drive us, but he said, he told my mom, he said, oh, get them ready, I'll come and pick them up. So 5 little girls, they just drove us all over the country. And people knew us because of that and because of that legacy that he had, the passion that he had for people to learn about Jesus Christ.
He was the most caring and the most giving man in the world. I've never seen that man get angry in his life. The only time I can even even think about counting him getting angry is when he was trying to discipline us, because he just never bared any hatred towards anybody. He always had this move forward mentality, and I see the way it affected my grandmother, and I can tell the way it affected my mother, just the way that they continue to push forward. And I feel like that was definitely instilled in me, especially when I was around him, because I got to see greatness and I got to experience it. And it's hard missing that. It's really hard missing that, and that's really important for the young people out there to just have just one. It only takes one or two from knowing your background to really get to know everything else, because once you know where it all started or somewhere close to the start, you can be like, you can put the pieces together yourself, and that's what it's about.
That's beautiful.
Having a start and then being able to build on that. That's what that legacy is. And then that's when you proceed to create your own legacy, and then now the roles are reversed and where you're doing the same for others.
Yes. As you as you climb, lift others. We are our brother's keeper. You all know that, right?
I know.
And we're not our brother's controller. But we can reach back and help people up out of whatever they're in. It could be a rut. It could be something, good. Sometimes you just need a little push forward.
Yep. And sometimes people can come off as mean, but a lot of times it isn't them being mean. A lot of times it's just a lot of root problems that they haven't been able to deal with. And if you engage them with that kindness to begin with, that's a lot of times that starter point for a lot of people. Just that opening up with kindness instead of trying to hit fire with fire all the time. Sometimes you need a little bit of water, so that way that fire can grow into a tree. All the ashes from that fire can grow into a tree, So,
man, that reminds me of my grandma, because my I love her, but she was born in the 50s, so she went through a lot, like getting evicted from her home all the time, being hated on constantly, seeing a lot growing up, having to take care of her mom growing up and stuff like that. So she's big on helping people. I've never, not once, just like you said, I've never seen her get mad before. All I've seen her done is like help people. And I know, like, when I was little, I'd go to her house all the time, show for it, because she helps this church. She live in Indiana though. It's called Light of the World Church. It's a great church, y'all should go. But she helps out a lot, like giving food to the homeless, helping with church services, all that. She's real close with the people there. I know sometimes she'll like make me do stuff. Like when I was younger, she'll make me do it. I didn't want to do it because I'm a kid. I don't see why I'm doing this. But now when I look back at it, I'm glad that I got to participate in stuff like that. I remember one time we was giving out food to homeless people. Yes. Man, it just felt so good. That's why and the church, every Tuesday, they have something called Youth Night, where anybody, like just in the neighborhood or anywhere, you can just come in, get some food, chill, play basketball, because the church, like where they do the service at, is also like they use it as a basketball court too. They got like goals inside the stuff, and they got like a playground outside. They have anybody come through there and just do whatever. So it's like a communal thing. Like, and I heard this quote before. It's called, "You help someone, you help everyone." And I just that's awesome.
One thing people don't realize is the church doesn't come from the outside. It comes from the heart. When people say, oh, because there's a difference. You can have somebody who goes to church every day say, oh, I love God, and then go back home and go right back to sinning. And then you can have somebody who's at home praying, reading the Bible every day, and understands it and picks it up and learns from their sins to become a better person. And a lot of the times, the difference between that person who goes to church every day and that person who stays at home is the intent in their heart. So if you have the intentions to do good things, even if you're not at church, God will still bless you. But if you're going to church every day and you still doing these people wrong, going out doing knowing you're not supposed to do what you're doing, then, God's hand will be hesitant, because you're not supposed to be doing that. And then you go to God's house and he sees through the mask, because God knows all.
Yes, he does.
So he knows what you're up to, and he will definitely bless that person that even though they're not at church every day or might not be able to go to church, but still have that intent of helping others, he'll bless them.
That's right. Because at the end of the day, religion, it really comes down to being spiritual, having that belief, because we have no 100% proof that, hey, God is right here in front of me, but hey, we believe it. So at the end of the day, you can go to church and you can, go sit down and you can pray and you can do all of the church things, but at the end of the day, if you're going home and you're sinning, you're just repeating that cycle of not actually...
You're not going nowhere.
Exactly. You're just staying in that one spot. And actually, piggybacking off of what Jayden said earlier, you said that your grandma had been through a lot. And what Gary said earlier, too, was that can sometimes make people, it can make them hate. It can make them come off as hateful. But what people have to understand is that when those people went through a lot, they're trying to teach others how to not make those same mistakes. So they get angry when they see you make those mistakes because they don't want to see you end up where they were at one point, which is why they get so upset because they want to see you do better, which is why when you have those lectures, you have to really sit there and you have to really
pay attention.
Take it in.
Right.
Take it in.
You can't just sit there and let it go one ear and out the other. Be like, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I got you. And then just walk away and continue to make the same
continue
mistake.
doing the same thing. And one thing that my parents hate it, because one thing that will happen is they'll be saying something to me and they think I'm not paying attention. But really, I take it in and then I apply it like when I leave the house. But one thing I do have to work on is also applying it to the people in my life too. It's not just doing that to everybody else. I also have to do that to my family too, to let them know that I am listening and I'm still caring. And one thing that I picked up on when I was listening to this preacher earlier today, my mom showed me. He said maturity is giving people bread who wanted you dead. And what he meant by that is having the maturity. So what he said was maturity is giving people bread who wanted you dead. Because what happens is a lot of the times people will do you wrong, and then you'll do that to other people. But when the time comes, there's going to be a point where you're going to need help from other people. And if you're always doing people wrong, then no one's going to be wanting to help you. But let's say that they did you wrong, but you still go out and help other people. What will happen is that same person might be in the same situation where they need something, and they're going to have to come to you because they know they were messing up. And what happens is when God sees that you're taking advantage of his blessings, he'll take it away. And he'll try to, you'll try to go and rely on other people. But if you've been doing people wrong, who can you turn to? And so when he says that is what he means. That's what he means by that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like my granny, my mom and dad, they big on like lectures and lessons and stuff. And my granny, she's big on like kindness and stuff. I know a lot of times when she speaks to me, it's just me, like how I look. It looks like I'm not listening, but again, like you said, you really taking it in. I'm one of the most like kindest, meanest people you'll know. Look, I say mean because like like I joke with my friends like all the time. Like I'm just a natural. I joke every 5 seconds. It's just me, but and like. The joke, it may sound mean, but like it's a joke. Like my friends know it's like no harm done, and I'ma always be there for them. And they'll say the same thing too. Like he act mean, but he not actually being mean, and he's like always there, whatever. Cause like especially Gary, like I'll see like the other day at track. I gotta tell you this. I told Deshaun early over the game. So some dude walked up to me, right? This is when we was doing them 150s.
Okay.
And he said, "You and Gary are short." And I was like, yeah. And then you was racing some girls and you had just took off.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, me and Gary Smurfs, but he the bionic Smurf because he fast. But nah, it was like we just playing though. You know what I mean?
No
You gonna let him call you a bionic Smurf?
Hey, but that's funny. That's pretty funny. But no. I mean, I'll say the same thing. I can be mean, but it's not me being mean. It's me seeing things for what they are and me calling them out. So if I see there's something afoot, I'm going to say, hey, something isn't right here. If I see something going on in the friend group, I'm the person to speak up and say, hey, guys, there's something clearly going on. Let's try to find a way to work this out. And a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people just want to hide behind everything. If I pretend everything's okay, then it will be okay. When it just get worse.
That's the key word, pretend. And pretense gets you nowhere. And I'm very cautious with people doing their performance.
Yep.
Rather than doing a practice. Because people put on a performance everywhere, but is it truly who you are? And when you live that life for purpose, and like Deshaun said, living in your purpose on purpose, I don't know. There's a freedom that words is undescribable, but you know that you're walking in that when you can be truth, when you can have honesty, integrity, dignity, all of that comes, and then you can sit down and listen to those life lessons. I love life lessons because you can either take them and learn from them, put your own building blocks around them, and you will go further. But some people, they have that attitude or that mentality that you can't tell me anything.
Yep.
And you don't ever want to be there, but you want to be a listener with the third ear, or people say the third eye. Look beyond what you see, and see, is this for me? Is this friend for me? Is this class for me? Is this my plight right now where I am in life? And I do believe that your life will be more pleasurable when you're able to make those decisions, and then you go and you help somebody else make greater decisions. And then next thing you know, you have a generation of young men that are making inroads for your brothers and sisters that's coming behind you.
And even your children, your children too.
And your children's children and your children's children, and everybody is blessed. And then you start building generational wealth, not only with finances, but with the mind to think.
See, that's
if they steal your thinking, you're nothing.
Yeah, Gary, like what
You're
you was
empty.
saying, like you see a problem in a friend group, it's just not talked out because everybody want to pretend that it's okay. And like I know, like I'm not trying to, I'm not gonna even say names, but
y'all know who y'all are.
Yeah. They watching right now.
Y'all know who y'all are.
I'll just say my friend group is split half and half now because they've been having problems for like weeks, and you know they would talk about it a tiny bit. And then just brush it off. And now it's to the point where they've been friends for years. They're not even friends no more. And they just split up. They walk past each other. They don't talk to each other. It's all, and it's just crazy.
What happens is a problem is like a broken vase, right? If you keep trying to sweep under all these broken vases, eventually one of those pieces is either gonna rip through the piece, or you're gonna hurt yourself trying to step over all of these pieces of these vases of all these problems that you've been trying to avoid. And one thing that I keep trying to tell people is, if you keep trying to ignore the problem is just going to manifest into something worse. It's not going to stay the same problem. It's going to manifest itself into either like some type of anxiety, depression, or sometimes even paranoia if you don't sit there and take the problem head on. And one of the lessons that God has been putting on me right now is letting go. Letting go.
Man, say that again.
Like just letting go. Cause
release.
Yes, cause a lot of people. Cause things about me is I'll take on a lot of, oh Gary, you can't do this. I don't let it affect me throughout the day, but it still takes its toll. And when people do that every day and they're not really understanding it, and you're trying to communicate, hey, this is how I'm feeling, you should probably stop doing this, because if you don't, I'm gonna throw you out that window, and they still do it every day, it gets annoying. And it's just like at a point, when is it enough? And when you try cutting that thing off, or that problem off, it becomes an even bigger issue. And like I was listening today to the preacher that my mom put on the TV. He was like, just put it in God's hands. Just let it go. Put it in God's hands. Because at that point, you've done everything that you could do. So there's no point in you trying to stress over something that that's out of your hands. Yeah. So
you shouldn't worry about stuff that you can't control. It's like this cup. Let's say it was a hole in this cup right here, and you know your objective. Let's say it's a tank pouring water into the cup, but it's a hole, and the hole represents the problem that you haven't let go. Now, if you don't let go of that problem, that hole is just gonna keep getting bigger, which allows more water to flow out. But if you let it go, you know what I'm saying, you get to the root of the problem, you let it go, you move on, it's patched, the cup can fill, which means you can move on with your life and do better things.
Hey man, good analogy. Look at you.
So yeah, I just gotta, a lot of people, this is a problem that a lot of people have, having the integrity and having the maturity to just go, even though you've done me wrong, I forgive you. And even though we might not be on the best terms, if push comes to shove, I'll still help you, because even though I might not like you, I understand that there might be a day where we could both help each other. And it isn't just about what you've done to me, but if I can help you and you can go help somebody else by me helping you, that it's a bigger picture thing. We're so interconnected like that, where let's say that I do somebody wrong one day, they go out and they do somebody else wrong, and then that person does, and that cycle continues to repeat. Now you have this big circle of interconnected negativity that is going to be hard to break, instead of you being positive and then that person being positive and then everybody becoming a stronger, more positive vibe. People don't understand that their energy when they come to a problem is important. That initial energy when it comes to a problem is key. It's key.
Yeah, one kind act goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So, yes.
Yes.
Most people don't understand that if you let a problem grow, and this is going back to that sounding kind of hateful or kind of sounding negative, but if you let a problem grow, then you are part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about that for a second and understand that, and think about this when you're in your next when you're dealing with your next problem, because if you think about yourself in this manner, then you're obviously not going to feel good about yourself, which will then entice you to be like, okay, maybe I need to fix this problem. So just think about that. Be like, hey, if I let this problem go, or in letting this problem grow, I'm being a bigger problem than what this is. So I need to go stop this. And that's really important, what people need to take away from those situations.
Yeah, like I've seen, like, you could be having a bad day. I know this happened. This was like years ago. Someone was having a bad day. And it's not their fault, something in their family happened which affected their mood. And, they didn't want to be bothered. So, it takes one kind act to go a long way, but it takes a negative act to do a big setback.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the dude was just doing his homework. Well, not homework, but, like, classwork. He didn't want to be bothered. His best friend walked up to him and, was trying to figure out what was wrong. He kept asking him, what's wrong? You can talk to me. Dude yelled at him, cussed him out, spazzed. They never talked again. And now, ever since that happened, his best friend was just mad. He was like, oh, now out of nowhere, you just switched up. I can't trust nobody, so I'm just be mean to everybody else. He started being mean to people, and then both of them ended up having no friends because of that one action.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Wow, you know what? And it's amazing just to see. I'm looking at you as young men, and the same problems can happen, young, old. There's no such thing as a generational gap, I don't think. Because if you get with some mentors and just talk with them, you will see some of the same issues. But like maybe at different time periods, and you all have more pressures in life than I did in my age, more things to pull you away or more distractions. But just to hear you talk, the still basics are there.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be noticed. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be able to be heard. Everybody wants an opportunity to be seen.
Yep.
Everybody wants equity, fairness, equality. It's just about the same thing. It's just amazing to see you all sitting here on Simplicity Radio Show and talking about everyday experiences. Yes, you have you have entrepreneurship in your blood. Yes, you know what you want to do. Yes, you're in school doing great. Yes, you're a sportsman. Yes, you know your business is going well. Yes, you want to be a photographer. Yes, you want to be track star, whatever. And I see all this stuff that's happening in front of me, but yet everybody has problems. And problems get you to be a critical thinker.
Yep.
You understand? And so, either we can say, I'm going to rise from this. Maya Angelou, she has that poem, Still I Rise, like dust, I rise. You understand? So just to hear you all just sit here and talk, I want another show. I don't know what month, because next month we're going to do with men in grief. How do you express it? And here I am with 3 young men, and hearing you all express that. But how do men express grief? And then how do you reach out to other hurting young men? And then how do you reach out to young men who have already been helped, and then they can help other people? So it all ends of the spectrum. And then I just met a young man tonight Tyler Bowman, and his story is interesting, and I want people who are overcomers to come back and say, you know what, hey, I messed up. I did this, but now I got a new start. Like you said, until you recognize where the problem is and patch it up, you're going to still be there, drowning in your sorrows or whatever.
Square one.
Or you can make up in your mind, yes, I went through this. It hurt me, but I have to move on. What's next in my life?
Man, grief a big thing.
It is a big thing.
I know I can recall like 2 points in my life where I went through it like the worst. Now, I remember last time I talked in here, I talked about me and Gary. We both talked about our cousins that died. And I know like when my cousin died, I was in the 4th grade, and I had already moved, and I was adjusted to a new school, and I wasn't already fitting in, and people were like messing with me. So when he died, that just messed me up. I didn't even want to do basketball no more. I had a bad year because I was angry that someone killed my cousin over a girl. So I'm over here taking my anger out on everyone, which made it harder for me to find friends for the rest of that year. Now, 5th grade, I matured. I righted my wrongs by apologizing and explaining my situation to people. And by 6th grade, I found my group. I finally was able to fit in. And then now quarantine comes, I meet this girl, and I meet this girl. We talk for a long time. We date for a year. Now, a few days after our 1-year anniversary, we break up for good. And that was another time I went through grief. But instead of taking my anger out on people that time, like I didn't. I held everything in. I didn't talk to anybody about anything. I was just, for that entire summer, sat in my room, lonely, depressed, like sad, wasn't able to talk to nobody. I stopped working out, started gaining a little bit of weight. No, I'm a skinny dude, but like I was gaining a little bit of weight. I already have a sleeping disorder anyway, but I wouldn't sleep until like 4 a.m. and I'll wake up 3 a.m. in the daytime. That's an entire day wasted, because by the time I wake up, it's just a few hours till it get dark again, and I'll just be on the playing games all day and whatever. So by the end of that summer, that's when I decided, I keep saying I'm gonna do this, get out of this depressive state, go outside, talk to people, make new friends, but I'm not doing anything. So by the end of that summer, I decide, I'm gonna start talking to more people. That's when I find, like, school starts and I find a good friend group. I migrated 2 friend groups sophomore year, but I found a friend group that kept me company. They helped me through everything, and by the 2nd month of school started, I was able to get over her. And now after that, I made amends with her. Me and her were like cool. Like right now, we're so cool that we wingman for each other with us. We just do anything. And it's just, if you dealing with grief, you just gotta, distract yourself long enough to do something. But you can't just wallow around. Now, okay, when it first happens, maybe for like a week, okay, it's cool to wallow around because you're still trying to process it. But after that, if you don't do anything about it, then it's just gonna stay there and it's never gonna leave, and it's just gonna manifest into something bigger, to where it destroys your confidence, in your life in general, and you just can't let it do that. Nowadays, if I lose a friend or something like that, I'll grieve over it, but I just accept that it's a part of life and it's gonna happen. So you just gotta move on. And I'll still help you. I'll still be here. I'll still be here for you. I'll help you through any problem. We may not ever be as cool as we was, but I'm not just gonna dwell over you if you expect me to. You leaving hurt me, but I'm not just finna sit and cry over you. No, I'm finna move on with my life and find my purpose.
And that mindset, like you said, is if we give yourself time to process. But like you said, you don't want to die in that moment. Jackson, we want to thank you for being our producer and just doing everything in a spirit of excellence. And young men, we are not out of talk, as you know, but we are out of time. And like we said, we want to show one day where we can just have a simple talk about everything. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in for tonight. And Deshaun, we'll let you carry out. Maybe do a Black History Code before we get out of here.
Okay, we gotta find a Black History Code, but something I want to leave y'all with. I always leave y'all with a piece of knowledge, as Jaden was just saying, talking about how you got to get through it, right? So just speaking on that, remember the biggest problems you can solve are the ones you can solve for yourself, because you can't help others if you're not there to help them. And that's just really important, something that y'all need to understand first and foremost.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good night. God bless you. And we will see you all sometimes this year.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
hey, this some good water.
Yeah, this
that
is
water
great
machine
water.
outside has some good water.
I was so